He feels like he's connected to the shark on a spiritual level.
I'm Russ Milheim from The Direct. Congratulations on the movie.
Thank you so much.
My first question is, you really dial it up to 11 in this film, playing such a unique serial killer. Can you explain why Tucker has chosen sharks as his murderous tool and how that plays into just the thematic core in this movie?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, he feels like he's connected to the shark on a spiritual level. Somewhere in his kind of undoing, Tucker has kind of developed this philosophy that, as someone who's one with the shark, it's upon him to like sort out the natural balance in the ecosystem. Predators are necessary for everything. There's a lot of like, if apex predators didn't exist, the balance would be thrown out, and lesser creatures would kind of run amok and things would kind of fall apart. And so, he really counts himself in that bracket. As deranged as that is, that's really where it comes from. There's an inner fear, though, I think, within that we really only touch on, but I hope is kind of clear in like what's at the core of this character. But I think he really believes in his crusade, and it's an interesting place to stem this from.
Last question for you. You also played Captain Boomerang. Spider-Man has a villain named Boomerang. Would you ever want to go across the multiverse and play that version of the villain?
Spider-Man has a.
It's very much Captain Boomerang, but just different.
Well, I think Captain Boomerang belongs where Captain Boomerang lives. I don't know how you jump and repeat that theme, but yeah, I don't know. Fuck, man, I don't know nothing about that. But
do you have any like Marvel villains you'd want to play?
I couldn't name 3.
Oh, that's fair. There you go. Well, thank you, sir. Congratulations.
The Direct. Hi, little camera.
I'm Russ Milheim from The Direct. Congratulations on the movie.
Thank you so much.
My first question, you spent a lot of time around sharks now and thinking about sharks.
Yes.
So what is the most interesting or like surprising fact you learned about them on your time with this production?
Oh, gosh. I'm not sure. I don't know that I had I have been watching Shark Week since I was a teenager. So it wasn't like I was learning fun facts about them when I got there. But, I think that there's just a continued respect and love of sharks. And, they're such an important part of the ecosystem.
You've been prepping for this moment your entire life with Shark Week all the time.
I know. No, I'm just a dork.
Now, you play Zephyr, and you're thrown into kind of an intensely interesting, death trap on the water in this film. Can you talk about, how awesome it was to be able to navigate such an interesting horror scenario? After all, it's not your usual slasher setting. You were given just this really unique playground.
Yeah, I think what's so cool about this movie is it's such a fun, original, fresh take on this shark genre that's so beloved, and I think it's just a fun adventure that everyone's gonna love the ride.
Yeah. Last question for you. I gotta quickly ask about Yellowstone.
All right.
Your character got a happy ending.
I did.
But have there been any talks for you to return for any sort of spin-off or any other appearances, or have we seen the last?
You know what? I'll keep my fingers crossed. I feel like Taylor Sheridan's created such an incredible world, and I feel so lucky to have been, a part of it when it hit the cultural zeitgeist in a way that was just so mind-blowing, Do
you have a dream spin-off idea?
I'll leave all that up to Taylor Sheridan.
All right, well, thank you, and congratulations on this movie.
Thank you so much.
My first question, your character is always running towards danger in this film.
He is.
How does it feel to be the character that people watch a horror movie and they're just like, no, stop, don't do that?
Stop doing that, please. Go home and get a good night's sleep. No, it's fun. I guess a lot of it you're following Moses on his imminent destruction. But it's a fun character play. Yeah.
Now, last question for you. I do quickly have to ask about Dune. You recently said filming starting in August.
Yeah.
Can fans hope for a 2026 release, or do you think we're going to be waiting a little bit longer?
Oh, man, that's way above my pay grade. I have no idea when it'll come out.
Any vague teases you can offer for season 2?
No idea, unless I'll get sued.
Will there be spice?
My character is, she just, you know what I mean? Yeah.
All right.
It'll be spice. Yeah.
Well, sir, thank you very much. You've now spent a lot of time around sharks, prepping for this movie and learning about them. What's the most interesting or surprising fact that you've learned about them through your time on this project?
The fact that they're not really a threat to us at all, which is kind of a myth that, as amazing as Jaws was, it kind of did a great disservice to the sharks. And sharks attack less than, there's less than 10 shark deaths per year, and they're always a case of mistaken identity. So, and that's what excited me the most about the film. It was a chance to correct that long-held, cruel misconception that sharks are the baddies. We cause more harm to them than they do to us.
I was actually going to talk about that, in that, this film, you've really done an interesting thing with how you're leveraging everyone's fear of sharks and employing that in a very unexpected, narrative, with this serial killer who utilizes that. Can you just talk about how you wanted to utilize that fear within this surprising vehicle?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like a serial killer film first and foremost, and the sharks are really a weapon. It's no different to kind of Jason Voorhees' kind of machete or fingers, or Freddy Krueger's kind of like knife gloves. They only turn up when Tucker chums the waters, and it's like at the manipulation of man. So I just wanted to be true to the fact that it's a serial killer film. It's not, there's plenty of shark carnage, but that's only because they're manipulated.
How do you think this is going to affect people's view of sharks? I hope it's better than what people do with Jaws and the shallow.
I hope so. I mean, I think that's one of the key takeaways, that I hope people step away from this going, wow, these are really majestic creatures, and we really take, there's absolute fear. There's scenes in this where you get in a shark cage, and of course there's going to be fear, the same way as when you step on a roller coaster, but beyond fear, when you step back and just look at them, they are beautiful creatures and they're not a threat.
Last question. Have there been conversations for Dangerous Animals 2? Do you have ideas in your head about how you would continue this story if you wanted to?
There have, but so far they've been, half joking. It's like we just got to get through the release first, and then we'll see.
Well, sir, thank you very much, and congratulations. Having been on this project, I'm sure you've spent a lot of time researching sharks, or just around them and the topic of sharks. So what is the most surprising or interesting fact that you've learned about them that you just didn't know before putting all the work into this one?
Well, I mean, I guess it's the sort of hidden lesson of the film is that, man is actually scarier than the shark on this one. And sharks are actually pretty incredible creatures, and perhaps we shouldn't be as afraid of them as we are.
Now, a question that just came to my mind is, there is that really iconic score with Jaws and sharks. And so obviously you do a shark movie and go, okay, let's do everything that's not that. So how did you work around making sure you didn't quite invoke that, or if you did it purposely and try to reverse it?
Yeah, no, we definitely did not do it purposely. I mean, John Williams is my hero. He's the reason I'm a film composer. He really is. I've told people that for years. Like, he's the reason I do what I do. And that is one of obviously everybody's all-time favorite scores. But in the case of this one, rather than running towards or running away from Jaws, what we did is we put it aside and we started building the world from scratch. As in, how can we create sounds, like individual sounds, individual notes, like to extract the maximum amount of terror from each scene, And we had a string orchestra, we had like pieces of bent metal, we had drums, we had pieces of wood, we had like analog synths like fed through the worst distortion you've ever heard. We just basically was twisting the knife at every point so that you really, hopefully, an audience will come away with it just absolutely breathless.
Last question for you. It's obviously sharks are such a big focus, but like we've talked about, man is that threat. How did you weave that into the score itself, and making that more apparent than when the sharks are on screen?
Well, it is actually a humanistic score. That's the thing, and it's more than anything else. Like, each character has their own theme, and you feel the themes. They're stated in the beginning of the film, and then you feel them kind of shift and change as each character goes through their own journey. Like, one of them becomes more triumphant, another one becomes a lot less triumphant. I don't want to give anything away, but it's definitely a human story at heart. So.
Well, sir, thank you very much, and congratulations.